everyone, welcome back again to Alaka'i the podcast. My name is Mutia Parasduhita and I'm here with my fellow co-host,
Emmie Siebert. Hello.
Alright, awesome. So today it is really special because we have 3 guests and then they're from the Pacific Studies Academy Club. And as we know, this is a brand new club. Emmie, do you know anything about it?
I have no idea. I was just telling them before, I'm a blank slate, so I'm excited to learn.
Awesome. So I think there are a lot of things that we need to learn. And then especially this is part of the subject that we learn here in BYU-Hawaii. And it's a big thing, especially we're living in Hawaii. And all right, I would like to introduce these 3 guests. The first one is Ross. She is the president of this club. And we have 2 vice presidents, which are Noel and Melly. Without any further ado, just let them introduce themselves. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. We're so happy. We're not. We're shy.
We won't even say we're nervous. We're not.
How does the fall semester treat you so far?
So far it's been good. I have things planned out every now and then, including just making time for this club.
Awesome. Well, why don't y'all introduce yourselves, where you're from, your major, and what year you're in school. Maybe let's just do those 3.
Okay. All right, I'll go first. All right, my name is Rosin Malolo Pedron. I am a junior, just entering my junior year. I am majoring in Pacific Studies and Political Science with a minor in Digital Business. And what was the other question?
Let's see, your major, where you're from. I think you got them all.
Right,
you got all
awesome.
the 3. Who's next?
I'm Noel Fulumua. I'm from Samoa, majoring in Pacific Studies. I'm also a sophomore. Oh, you're a junior. I'm a sophomore. Are you? No, yeah, I'm a sophomore.
So my name is Melly. I'm from Fiji. I'm also a Pacific Studies major. I have a minor in Political Science and Organizational Leadership.
Very cool.
Okay, for those who doesn't know what this major is all about, can you describe a little bit about this?
Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you what, actually all 3 of us are majoring in Pacific Studies, yeah? Mm-hmm. All right, well, I'll give a little bit from what I know so far, Great. At least. For me, Pacific Studies has been quite a journey. It's pretty personal, being Pacific Islanders as well, but the study is based around different social development issues, things that are going on in Oceania. So it's not specific to Polynesia, but it branches out to Micronesia and Melanesia as well. So helps us to be more aware of those issues. So when we go back home, we actually are able to help out our communities.
Yeah, I think just going along with what Roz said, it's a lot of, it resonated a lot with me too. That's why I kind of dived into Pacific Studies. Also just kind of really helped me find grounding here at BYU-Hawaii away from home.
Anything to add, Mela?
For me, something that I took from high school is basically just history and geography. So I've always have interest in that. That's why I took up this Pacific study. It wasn't a thing when I came in, but then over the semesters, it's been introduced. So I tried to jump into it because basically it talks about who we are and where we come from and some of the ongoing social events that happens. So what we're trying to do is basically find solutions to these ongoing events.
So the major is relatively new as well?
Yeah, so actually the major's been around for a while, but it just got revamped this year. So they've changed the entire structure of the program.
Okay.
It used to be a minor. It's only offered as a minor.
Yeah.
But then
Then it became a major, but it was really focused on like Pacific arts, things like this. So it was kind of hard to actually apply it after school. So now they've created it so it's more like focused on actual things that we can take to postgrad, yeah?
Yeah. So now it focuses on issues that are part of like social work, some issues that are part of
politics
politics, business, the business side of it, also intercultural peace building with like mediation and that.
Oh wow, so it's like a compilation of Is that even a word? Compilation? Did I just make that up? Combination?
Yeah. Compilation.
Compilation,
I give it that.
And I was like, do I run with it or do I out myself? Yeah, of a bunch of different things. And whereas before it was just like arts and things like that.
Dance, yeah.
Minor.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, I think it's an interesting thing to know because for me, coming from Asia, not knowing anything about Pacific, about Samoa, Tonga, Hawaii, and many other islands. And I feel like coming to Hawaii, it brings a lot of sense of belonging. And I do believe that this major is really something that will be impactful for those people in those islands. And with the fact that we have a new club, I believe that you all wanted to expand to those who are not in this major too, right? So what is something that you would like people to know as they heard about this club?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like personally for me, I would want every Pacific Islander student who comes to school to at least just take one class and to see how it resonates with them. For me, I didn't start as a Pacific Studies major here at BYU. I was a political science major. But the first time I sat in a Pacific Studies class, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the learning that I've been looking for my entire time I've been at college. And I think that's something that you don't get in other courses. So yeah, we're expanding as a club so that it can kind of be an easy transition for people who are like, oh, what does this mean? You know, where does it take us and all of that.
That's
Yeah,
cool. I
yeah.
love how you said it's the learning you've been looking for.
Yeah.
It's like, cool.
That's, yeah, I think we could all relate to that. I started with political science as well. Then I decided I wanted to dive into the issues that political science was trying to like govern and everything. So I went into social work. And then I learned about the social work issues in the Pacific. Took a intro class to Pacific Studies, and I was like, nah, this is it. This is what I
we're meant
want.
to be. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that feeling of empowerment. Like, yeah, you sit in there and you hear stories that are so similar to your stories, and you hear and see experiences from people that look like you and talk like you. You know.
It's important.
Absolutely. Do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay. Okay, so so there's the club and then there's the major. What is the club? Like, what do you guys do there? What is that?
Yeah,
What
so-
is that?
No, for sure. So the reason why it's an academic club is because actually we're hoping in the future that we can transition it to be under the department itself. So this is kind of our first step in the door for, you know, for our program that's just come up and it's new and all that. But the club is really focused on things like academic workshops, meaning, you know, how to write a CV for the Pacific, you know, these kind of things you don't learn in classroom settings. And I know it sounds boring when I say it like that.
That sounds so great.
Yeah, I know, right? Come to our CV workshops.
Actually, what is it? What is a CV?
A resume, like a or CV, or yeah, it can be a resume for a job or a resume
Is
for
it not a CV
grad
here
school.
in America?
Well,
No,
it could be. I'm just
okay.
sometimes super not with
No,
it.
you're all good. Like, you kind of use the words interchangeably, I guess. But yeah, those are one of the things as well. So we're looking at workshops, things like debates, things like these things that we don't really find in the
Yeah.
cultural clubs because it's a lot of
Just dancing,
Just pure
and
culture.
food.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
So it's the stuff that can kind of set you up for what's going to happen in the real world, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, basically, just to help the club members and those who are interested to join Pacific Studies, to find directions on where they could go in the future. Maybe post-grad studies and other things like to further your education. So what we do is like help these students find a place for them to go.
And also to kind of like provide space for, you know how when we say Pacific, instantly we think of Samoa and Tonga, Fiji, you know, the big
ones.
Yeah. But we kind of forget about, Northern Mariana Islands and federal states of Micronesia,
Palau.
Papua New Guinea, Palau, Nauru. And so kind of what our club has provided is like an umbrella for all of these students to like come in, and we had that our opening social. And we had so many students come in, which was really, really good. So inclusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Can you describe a little bit more about the activities that you did in the opening social?
Yeah, for sure. So there's this thing that we kind of sent out most of our activities on, which is the concept of talanoa. Talanoa being, it's a Polynesian term, it's a Samoan term really, but it's this umbrella term as well to open up discussion with each other, right? And I guess when I say discussion, in English, it kind of just sounds like, okay, we're going to sit down and talk to each other. But talanoa in a Pacific space is like, no, you're going to sit down, you're going to open up, you're going to get vulnerable, you're going to get deep with each other and share all
real?
these things.
It
So
gets
talk
really
story.
deep.
that's it. Talking story is huge. And I think if we market it like that, it doesn't sound, incredible. But at the opening, at least, we have a little presentation and then introduce these ideas for everyone to start thinking about, giving them time to think about that, and then opening up like smaller circles for them to figure out, okay, where am I with this idea? Where am I going with this as well? And yeah, that's something that we focus a lot of we're hoping to focus our activities on.
What are the stories that people share the most? Because being vulnerable is a big thing. Because I cannot open up with anyone,
Right. It has to be like a safe space for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
For
I think one of the things that we have as Pacifica people is mana, which is mostly used to like conduct the spaces that we go into. And so it takes a lot to not only provide a space, but also to take in what's shared in these spaces. And so stories could go from like your personal journey to ways you deal with things that you go through, sort of. And these spaces are considered really sacred because, it's obviously people's innermost thoughts and experiences. And so it's really important for us to recognize that what these people are sharing with us is dear to them, and in turn we respect it by like keeping it to ourselves unless it's the own person telling the stories to someone else. So,
I love that. I was just thinking, like, one of the stories, if we're going to be talking stories, at least for myself personally, I'm Samoan, Noel's Samoan, but we come from very, very different backgrounds, I was raised in New Zealand. In Australia, we kind of call this a diaspora. Melly's Fijian, there's another completely different background as well there. But to say, oh, they're all Pacific people, they all share the same issues, they all share the same challenges, it's not true. So trying to figure out what that actually means to each Pacific person personally, that's where the talking story part comes out. I think another thing as well is that there's a lot of stigma with Pacific students. I feel like we like to sit at the back of the class. Like, we don't like to answer questions. Right? Like, we don't like getting our names called out in class. Why do you sit in the back, Melly?
It's for your own sake now.
Like, there's these habits I feel like we established that we don't even realize about ourselves. So helping us to come forward and be a little bit like
accountable.
I guess for where we're going as well. Like, for the most part, we get told this is how your life is going to be. But I like
flip the script.
I don't like being told what to do. Yeah, it might be different for Melly though. The stories are very different.
Yeah.
What are your stories like?
Yeah, because
Melly?
you're the only one from Fiji here.
Right.
I feel like my story coming here is it's different. Yes, I would say it's different from everyone else. But from these activities that we have done, it has helped me tell my story like the talanoa. It's more like a conversation. So when someone opens up, I'll try to relate it to that person, but obviously it's going to be different from the other person's story. And coming here to BYU wasn't a choice for me, but I decided to come just because I have like someone that wanted to come here. So in order to live that person's legacy of wanting to come here, I decided to come here. But if not, I would just be enjoying my old job in Fiji.
And Melly just shared with you his stories.
And that's really right. Thank you for sharing, Ellie.
Thank you.
And we could go into depth of that story, but not right now.
We'll keep it on the surface.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So a lot of things seem to be like, I feel like a lot of Pacific Island clubs are educating people about their culture, and that seems to be like educating, but also like I think y'all are taking it a step further to put in like action items and like help everyone here so they can help others like back where they go. As someone being from the mainland, what are some ways that people like me could help, or like, I don't know necessarily about take part, because I don't think the club probably isn't catered for mainlanders. But how could, I don't know, we support and maybe be a part of that?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I guess when you bring it like that, one of the things that I'm very mindful of is that our club so far is very Polynesia focused, just with the members that we have. Like there's a lot of Polynesian members. I promise I'm getting back to the mainland topic. But what I've come to find is that even though I am from Polynesia, even though I'm Samoan, I have a responsibility to find out ways how I can uplift Micronesian voices, you know, voices from people who are in smaller islands who don't have the opportunity to speak up, you know, about what's going on there. I feel like it might be the same for our friends and students from mainland as well. There are issues that are going on our home grounds, in our families, you know, things like this, and sometimes we need outside help as well, right?
Yeah.
And we really appreciate having everyone come and listen to our stories, because I know it changes people's hearts and minds as well to just listen. And yeah, that's just one of the things I was thinking about you guys.
That kind of that kind of, you know, having outside people come in also kind of what do you call achieves our focus of building networks and providing resources that would benefit everyone.
Okay.
Not just us.
I think the other thing as well is like if we're talking story and there's issues that we're facing, and then you share, okay, well, here's the thing, I don't relate to that issue completely, but this is how I've always seen things. So, you know, help me understand, would this help you guys, or is that completely different? You know, these things, the more ideas, it helps. Yeah.
Talking about network, do you have anyone that you connect with outside BYU-Hawaii?
Yes.
Really?
Do you want to go?
So our academic advisor, really wonderful academic advisor, Dr. Lingalinga, he's our main plug.
Yeah, for real.
Sort of.
He's the plug.
Yeah, he's the plug, yeah. And so he has connections with all sorts of schools, that includes schools from New Zealand and Australia as well. And so he has been, I don't know, sort of advocating for like programs that would help us connect to these universities as well as schools in the mainland also. Yeah,
no, for real. So some of those schools can include things like Otago. In New Zealand, there's this university called Otago University. They have a really solid Pacific Studies program, but they've also got a lot more Pacific, Pacific students. Yeah. So, like these are the kind of universities that we're hoping to get in contact with and to build networks with. Even just at Manoa as well, they've got a really big Pacific Studies program there too. So our hope for next semester, at least, that's what we're trying to build this semester, is to have a solid, you know, database or network, so that when our students come saying, oh, hey, like, we need help with this, we can say, okay, this is, you know, this is where you can go. That's it, right? We have the She's Not Your Rehab. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Love it.
The what is this?
So,
Sorry, I'm nerding out now.
it's kind of this organization or charity that we have a guest speaker coming next semester, actually. Yeah,
For the club or for the major?
for the club.
For the but anyone
I mean,
also
for
is
both.
invited.
It's in Toronto.
But the She Is Not Your Rehab organization was founded in New Zealand by a Samoan. Oh, I love that Samoan.
Someone studies.
And it kind of goes into like dealing with trauma and abuse, which is I want to point out, it's very taboo to talk about these things when you're Samoan because of cultural aspects as well. But they've kind of broken the cycle and kind of have had this breakthrough where they have provided space for like men especially to come and heal and talk about the things that they go through as well, and it's called She Is Not Your Rehab. I love that name. You know, women are many things, but she is not your rehab.
I love that. Yeah, She Is Not Your Rehab. Yeah, so it's actually it's an organization that that supports anti-violence towards women, right?
Yeah.
And so their target is to educate men as to how they can heal from their trauma, so they're not using their women as trauma bags, punching bags, you know.
Projection. And,
Wow, that's a big thing.
Yeah, it's
and
huge.
we're bringing them. Oh my gosh, how exciting!
So the group is from New Zealand.
They're from
and
New
then
They're actually on a tour right now. They'll be in India soon. Yeah, they're in Australia right now, I know. But they'll be in India soon, and then they'll be in New York, I think. And then they'll be here
They're
next
going
year.
London as well.
Yeah,
coming back.
yeah.
But yeah, they'll be here next January.
Next
So
semester.
Yeah,
We'll
maybe a
say
couple
next
months
semester.
now.
That
So join
seems
the
so.
club.
yeah, so join the club so you can come hear them. Come support us.
Also, just side note, the man is Famanu Brown's brother.
Yes.
So if you're rugby, you know, yes,
yeah.
this is Famanu Brown's brother. Famanu Brown's also has some work to do with the organization. So yeah, if you love Famanu Brown, come listen to She Is Not Your Rehab and join the club now.
We'll bring them on the podcast next.
like they're like, I heard we're gonna do a podcast. We're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. But these are just some of the... So a lot of the networks we're making right now is really solely based off what we hear from our students. They're saying, we want these things, you know, and then we're kind of the group that goes out and gets it for our students. So that's how we're approaching it right now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wow, that is so exciting. What a cool organization. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And I think that's something that I always interested to learn about, because I'm learning communications, but not only that, there's also like culture and media studies. Learning from another culture is a big part, and I feel like seeing that kind of point of view will kind of enlighten me, of course. What do you think, Emmie?
Yep, that's all. No other thoughts. Before we close, is there anything that you would like to say to the listeners that we have not asked? You can. You're all good.
Rob, edit that out.
Well, guys, if you guys considering about joining the club or not, you can hear it from our voices.
Man, they're just so fun.
They're just a
They're
lot
hilarious.
of fun people
But
to
yeah,
spend with.
is there something that we haven't asked you that you would like to share about your club, or like in promotion or whatever?
Just one of the things that I thought about, we have another emphasis on getting published. One of the struggles within the Pacific is that when we're trying to look up Pacific issues, it's usually written from people who are not from the Pacific.
Really?
So,
Okay.
so it gets really difficult to understand, like, am I learning this from an
Like, who's
authentic
speaking?
point of view,
Yeah.
right? One of our faculty, Dr. Crusay, she's really on board with the Intersections Journal, which really makes us certified publishers, right? So for me, at least, that kind of changed my mind about research papers, because they're like, oh, do your research papers. But when she says, do your research papers so you can be a certified publisher, I'm like, wow.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
So being a certified publisher, is that like an individual thing? Like, so someone like Roz, it's like you are a certified publisher. Like, you've published something and that's what makes you a...
That's it.
Yeah.
So
And
there
you
will
could
be a
put
lot
it
of
in
peer
your
reviews
CV
and-
too.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that's
there'll
like
be
an
lots of peer
emphasis that you can... People can get in the club or in the major.
Yeah.
And that's just something that you can kind of take with you.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So just some things for people to think about. It's like, do you want to make your academics mean something more than what it means right now, perhaps?
This major has also provided like a platform to present these papers. We have the undergraduate conference. Yeah, every year you write a research paper and then you present it at the undergrad conference, and there's faculty that'll be there during your presentations. And
well, actually, one of the things that drew me in to the club initially actually was that our faculty told us, hey, if you get your research set and you find a conference overseas that kind of aligns with your research, we'll figure out a way to make it happen.
And they're actually leaving this Friday.
Yes, so this
tomorrow.
Friday we've got our first ones leaving to Australia.
They're going to Australia, presenting these papers that they've written and presented. Let's go.
Love it.
Emily.
Oh yes.
And who else is going? Yeah, Emily, Tori.
But yeah.
Lenisi.
Dr. Cruze.
Yeah.
Wow, well, this will probably be posted after that happens, and so it'll probably be...
Oh, right.
Back by then. Oh, good. Still shout out to them. We love that. Go little scholars.
Well, that's so cool. This is a really special group that's forming, and so amazing that it's like you're affecting change, and you're taking tools back, and you're learning things, and you're learning from each other's cultures, but not only that, learning how to implement that and make your space a better place. In closing, the question we ask everyone, what is the best life advice you've ever gotten?
Oh, am I starting?
Yeah, go for it, girl. What is it?
Nah. I think one of the best advices I've got is the comeback is always bigger than the setback. It's kind of changed my perspective on like the things that I go through when I don't always have it my way. When I get a no for an answer, I'm always like, okay, regroup. What is this teaching me? And then what is there? And then I kind of look forward to it instead of like soaking in my sorrow. So changes perspective. Teaches you to see the bigger picture.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, mine it's really simple. It's what my mom used to tell me all the time before I would go to school. Go be great.
Oh, mic drop.
That's a good one. Melly?
Yeah, mine is simple too. It's from my mom as well. She always say, always do your best.
Love it.
That is such a good one. Always
Two
do your
mic drops.
best.
I think everything can be applied to me.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, Noelle, Roz, and Melly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, if you have a story or know someone who does, you're welcome to reach out to us at Alaka'i News on Instagram. And thank you so much for joining. See you next time.
See ya.